Ladies and gentlemen, time is life. If you waste time, you are not just wasting minutes. You are wasting your very life. Let me ask you a question. What are you waiting for? Too many of us are standing still, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right conditions, waiting for someone else to tell us it's time. But here is the truth. Time waits for no one. Time is life itself, because every tick of the clock is not just a passing moment, but a piece of your very existence being exchanged. Life is not measured by the number of years you live, but by how you use the hours, minutes, and seconds that you are given. Every person is born with the same daily deposit of 24 hours, and it is the most equal resource humanity possesses. Unlike money, time cannot be stored, borrowed, or retrieved once it is gone. The second that just passed is a piece of your life you will never see again. When people say they are killing time, what they are actually doing is killing portions of their destiny, cutting away opportunities to maximize who they were created to be. Time is not a background detail to life. It is the very fabric of life itself, and when you lose it, you are losing life. When you think about it, everything you are, everything you achieve, and everything you become is connected to how you manage your time. If a student spends time studying diligently, the investment turns into knowledge, skills, and opportunities. If an entrepreneur spends time wisely, it converts into innovation, impact, and success. But if that same time is squandered on distractions, procrastination, or idleness, the result is failure, regret, and mediocrity. This is why those who waste time are unknowingly wasting their very existence, because time is the raw material that life is built upon. Consider the way we celebrate birthdays. We think we are just marking another year, but what we are actually acknowledging is that a portion of life has been spent, whether wisely or not. A birthday is a reminder that a year of time has been exchanged for whatever you chose to do with it. Some people move forward with growth, learning, and purpose, while others realize they have let another year slip away without progress. This is why the awareness of time should create urgency in our lives, not anxiety, but a sense of responsibility. If time is life, then every day wasted is not just a day gone, it is a piece of who you could have become lost forever. Time also defines opportunity. The greatest opportunities in life are often wrapped in specific seasons. There are doors that open only once, relationships that come into your path for a moment, and ideas that must be acted upon immediately or they fade away. When people do not value time, they miss opportunities that never return. This is why procrastination is so dangerous. It convinces you that you can delay action without consequence. But in reality, the opportunity tied to that moment may be permanently lost. Since time is life, missing the right time can mean missing the fullness of life itself. Think about how time governs our bodies and existence. The moment you are born, a clock begins ticking that no one can stop. Your body ages, your seasons change, and you cannot reverse the process. Every person's life is like an hourglass turned upside down, with sand grains falling steadily until none are left. No one knows how much sand remains in their glass, but everyone knows that it is falling. This reality should not create fear but purpose, because the awareness of time reminds you that life is not something to waste on trivial pursuits, toxic relationships, or endless waiting. The wise understand that each day is a gift of life, and they treat time as sacred. If you exchange time for things that don't matter, you are trading pieces of your life for emptiness. But if you exchange time for things of value, you are trading pieces of your life for meaning, legacy, and fulfillment. Time is not something you have, it is something you are, and once it is gone, you are gone with it. Therefore, the way you treat time is the way you treat your very life, because time is life itself. The tragedy of life is not death, but unfulfilled potential, because death is inevitable for every human being. Yet what makes life truly sorrowful is when someone leaves the earth without becoming what they were meant to be. Death itself is a natural part of the human journey, but unfulfilled potential represents a wasted life, a story that could have been written, but never was. Every person is born with gifts, talents, ideas, and the capacity to make a difference in the world. Yet many people pass through life without ever discovering those treasures within themselves. They allow fear, doubt, procrastination, or distraction to hold them back, and as a result, they never rise to the level of greatness they were created to achieve. This is why the true tragedy is not the end of life, but the fact that so many never really lived in the fullness of their purpose. Potential is what you are capable of doing, but have not yet done, who you are capable of becoming, but have not yet become, and what you can achieve, but have not yet achieved. It is like a seed carrying the promise of a mighty tree. But if the seed is never planted, nurtured, or allowed to grow, its potential remains locked inside forever. Imagine the heartbreak of living 70 or 80 years on this earth and realizing you never wrote the book inside you, never launched the business you dreamed of, never spoke the words that could inspire others, or never created the invention that could have transformed lives. That is the true tragedy, dying full instead of dying empty. When people die with their potential still inside them, the world is deprived of the solutions, creativity, and impact they were supposed to release. Every person has a unique contribution, a piece of the puzzle that no one else can complete in the same way. Yet when potential is left unexpressed, it is buried with them in the graveyard. This is why cemeteries are often described as the wealthiest places on earth, because they contain unwritten books, unspoken speeches, unfulfilled ideas, and unlived dreams. The world loses something valuable every time someone dies without unlocking their potential, and that loss is far greater than the physical death itself. Many people settle for mediocrity, living lives of routine and comfort, afraid to take risks or step out of their comfort zones. They allow circumstances to dictate their choices, or they become consumed with survival instead of purpose. While they may exist, they never truly live, because living requires expressing the gifts you were given. Existence without expression is emptiness, and a life without the pursuit of purpose is simply motion without meaning. Death is certain, but unfulfilled potential is optional. It is the result of decisions made every day to delay, to hold back, or to choose safety over growth. The tragedy of unfulfilled potential is also deeply personal. A person who dies without maximizing their potential never experiences the joy of seeing who they could have become. They never know the satisfaction of realizing their highest self or seeing their vision come to life. They carry within them a quiet grief, even if unspoken, because deep down they sense that they were made for more, but never pursued it. This silent regret can be heavier than the fear of death itself, because to die without fulfillment is to leave this world incomplete. Life was never meant to be measured by how long you live, but by how much of yourself you give while you are alive. Fulfilling your potential means emptying yourself of everything placed within you, leaving nothing buried, nothing held back, and nothing postponed for tomorrow. The tragedy of life, then, is not the moment you take your last breath, but the reality of leaving this world still carrying within you all that you could have shared, achieved, and become. The cemetery is the richest place on earth because it is filled with the greatest treasures humanity has never seen. It holds the dreams that people carried but never acted on, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the businesses that were never launched, and the inventions that were never created. Every grave is like a vault of potential that was buried along with the body, a silent reminder of what could have been but never came to pass. While people often look at gold mines, oil fields, or diamond reserves as the wealthiest places on earth, they pale in comparison to the riches of the cemetery, because no resource on the planet is more valuable than human potential that goes unrealized. The truth is that every person is born with a unique deposit of talent, creativity, and purpose. These gifts are not meant to be buried within, they are meant to be released and shared with the world. Yet so many people live their entire lives without discovering or expressing what was inside them. They allow fear of failure, the opinions of others, procrastination, or lack of confidence to hold them back, and in doing so, they leave behind a wealth of unused ideas. The cemetery becomes a collection of human treasure that never saw the light of day. It is a place where potential lies still, where voices that were meant to inspire remain silent, and where visions that could have changed the course of history are lost forever. When you think about it, the richest inventions never built, the cures never discovered, and the solutions to global problems may already be lying in graves. Many of the answers humanity seeks might have been locked inside the minds of people who died without sharing them. Imagine how many diseases might have been cured, how many nations might have been transformed, or how many lives could have been changed if people had only released what they carried. The cemetery is not only rich with what was lost individually, but also with what was lost collectively, because the world itself suffers when people die with their gifts still hidden. The tragedy is that no one was meant to die with their potential. Life was designed to be lived in such a way that, by the time you leave the earth, you have poured out everything within you. You were not created to go to the grave full. You were created to go empty, having used every bit of your gift, every ounce of your creativity, every idea, and every dream. Yet most people do the opposite. They go through life saying, "One day I will start," but that day never comes. They keep waiting for the perfect time, for conditions to align, for the right opportunity to appear, but in waiting, time slips away. Death comes like a thief, and with it goes everything they never gave. The cemetery is a place of silent voices, silenced not because they were never given a gift, but because they chose never to use it. It is a place of unrealized visions that died within the dreamer, of inventions that never went past imagination, of music that was never heard, of art that was never painted, of businesses that never opened their doors. Each grave represents not only a life lost, but also the treasure chest of potential locked away and buried with it. The wealth buried in cemeteries across the world is incalculable, for it is the wealth of untapped human possibility. The sobering truth is that no matter how much money, fame, or possessions you may gather in life, the greatest measure of your wealth is not in what you keep, but in what you release. The cemetery is the richest place on earth precisely because too many people left this world without ever sharing their treasure, and it will remain the wealthiest place until people choose to live fully, give completely, and die empty. Someday is not on the calendar because it is an illusion that convinces people they have unlimited time to pursue their dreams, fulfill their purpose, or take action on what matters most. People often say, "Someday I will start my business. Someday I will write that book. Someday I will repair that relationship. Someday I will get serious about my goals." But that day never arrives because it does not exist. There is no date called someday in the weeks, months, or years ahead. There is only today, and every time you postpone action to a mythical future moment, you are wasting the only real time you truly have. Life is not lived in the past or in an imaginary future, but in the present moment. And those who wait for someday lose their opportunity to maximize the power of now. The reason someday is so dangerous is because it gives a false sense of security. It makes people believe they have more control over time than they actually do. We are not guaranteed tomorrow, let alone some undefined point in the future. The clock of life is ticking every second, and with each moment that passes, the window of opportunity grows smaller. Many people leave this world with unfinished dreams simply because they thought they had more time. They believed they could always start later, only to discover that later never came. Someday is a thief, stealing the urgency that is needed to live intentionally today. Another problem with someday thinking is that it is often used as an excuse to avoid the discomfort of starting now. People wait for the perfect conditions, the right resources, or the ideal opportunity, not realizing that these conditions rarely come. If you wait until you feel fully ready, you will never begin. Progress is born in the act of starting, not in waiting. Someday is a mask people wear to hide their fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty. They tell themselves that the future will be better, that circumstances will align, but in reality, it is procrastination disguised as hope. Great accomplishments are never built on someday. They are built on decisions made in the present moment. Life only rewards those who seize the day and take action with the time they have. History is filled with examples of people who made bold moves in the moment rather than waiting for everything to be perfect. In contrast, the world is also filled with silent stories of men and women who could have changed lives, but their ideas were buried with them because they waited for someday. The graveyard is full of dreams postponed until tomorrow. Songs never written because the writer thought there would be more time, and inventions never created because their inventor thought the opportunity would return. Someday is a lie, and believing in it is one of the greatest reasons why people die without fulfilling their potential. The truth is that time is slipping away, whether you act or not. Every day you delay, you are further from the dream you carry, and the opportunities you thought would wait for you may disappear forever. Relationships fade, passions grow cold, ideas lose their spark, and doors that were once open close permanently. Someday thinking blinds people to the reality that the only guarantee they have is today. Tomorrow is a promise no one can make, and someday is not written in the story of time. The only real calendar you possess is the one that says today, and it is in today's actions that your future is created. Those who live waiting for someday never see their dreams realized, but those who act today turn possibilities into realities. Your gift must be used now because the world cannot benefit from what you keep locked inside. Every person is born with unique talents, skills, and abilities that are not accidents, but intentional deposits meant to make a difference in the lives of others. A gift is not for personal possession alone. It is a responsibility, and withholding it is like burying treasure where no one can see or use it. When you delay using your gift, you are not only robbing yourself of fulfillment, you are also robbing the world of the solutions and blessings that your gift was meant to bring. The present moment is the only time guaranteed, and waiting for tomorrow is dangerous because tomorrow is not promised. Your gift was designed to serve people now, and every day you keep it hidden is a day wasted. Many people postpone using their gifts because they believe they are not ready, not skilled enough, or not in the right season. They imagine that once they achieve perfection, then they will finally step out and use what they have. But gifts grow through use, not through waiting. A singer becomes better by singing, a leader becomes stronger by leading, and a writer becomes sharper by writing. Perfection is not the starting point. It is the result of consistent practice and faithful stewardship of a gift. If you wait until you feel ready, you will never begin, because readiness is created through action. Your gift must be expressed now, even in its raw and imperfect form, because it was never meant to remain hidden until you felt comfortable. The urgency of using your gift now also lies in the reality that opportunities are seasonal. Life presents open doors, and those doors do not always remain open forever. When a moment passes, it may never come again, and with it goes the chance to release your gift in the way it was intended. The business idea you have today might solve a problem in this generation, but if you delay, someone else will step into that space, or the need will fade away. The song inside you might be the inspiration someone desperately needs in this season. But if you hold it back, they may never receive it. Opportunities are time sensitive, and because time does not pause, the best time to act is always now. Your gift also carries responsibility because it is connected to other people's destinies. What you have been given is not just for you, but for those who will benefit from it. Someone is waiting on the other side of your obedience, waiting for you to step out and share what you carry. A teacher's words can ignite a student's dream, an inventor's idea can improve lives, and an entrepreneur's vision can create jobs for families. By hiding your gift, you are withholding hope, solutions, and opportunities from others. Your gift is bigger than you, and when you use it, you fulfill not only your purpose, but also contribute to the advancement of others. The danger of not using your gift now is that life is short and time is limited. No one knows how many days they have left, and once life ends, the chance to give what you carried ends with it. The cemetery is filled with people who had gifts they never used, dreams they never expressed, and talents they never developed. They thought they had time, but time ran out. To avoid that tragedy, you must decide to use what you have today. Even if you start small, even if you make mistakes, it is better to release your gift imperfectly now than to take it with you unused. Life's greatest regret is not in failing, but in never trying. And the only way to ensure you do not waste your life is to start using your gift while you have the chance. Time is currency because it is the most valuable resource you will ever possess. And how you spend it determines the quality of your life. Just like money, time can be invested, wasted, saved, or exchanged, But unlike money, once it is spent, it can never be earned back. Every second, every minute, every hour is a transaction in which you trade a piece of your life for something else. The question is not whether you are spending time, because you are always spending it, but rather what you are receiving in return. Some people trade their time for growth, knowledge, relationships, and purpose, while others trade it for idleness, distractions, and meaningless pursuits. The currency of time is more precious than gold or silver, because wealth lost can be regained, but time lost is gone forever. When you view time as currency, you begin to recognize its power. Every person is given the same daily deposit of 24 hours, no more and no less. It does not matter whether you are rich or poor, educated or uneducated, powerful or powerless. The deposit is equal. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not the amount of time they receive, but how they choose to spend it. Successful people understand that every hour is an investment, and they spend it in ways that bring long-term returns. They focus their time on developing skills, nurturing relationships, pursuing goals, and fulfilling their purpose. In contrast, those who waste their time spend it carelessly, like someone throwing money into the wind, and in the end, they are left with regret rather than reward. Time as currency also means that every choice you make is an exchange. When you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to something else. If you spend hours on entertainment, you are choosing to exchange that time for temporary pleasure rather than permanent progress. If you spend your time procrastinating, you are trading your future for a moment of comfort. If you invest your time in learning, building, and creating, you are purchasing growth, influence, and impact. Every day you are buying something with your time, and the results of your life are simply the accumulation of your daily purchases. Another important reality of time as currency is that it depreciates if unused. Money kept in a drawer may still hold its value years later, but time that is not spent is gone forever. Yesterday's hours cannot be retrieved, and tomorrow's hours are not guaranteed. That makes time even more precious than wealth, because it is fragile and fleeting. People often waste their time thinking they can make up for it later, but lost time is like lost opportunity. It cannot be replaced. Treating time as currency demands urgency, wisdom, and intentionality in how it is used, because every moment has value and every moment counts. When you understand time as currency, you begin to spend it differently. You become more selective with where you invest your hours, who you give them to, and what activities you allow to consume them. Just as you would not throw away large sums of money on meaningless purchases, you begin to refuse to throw away large portions of your time on meaningless distractions. You recognize that your time is your life, and life is too short to waste on things that do not matter. The return on your time is your future, and if you spend it wisely, you will reap fulfillment, growth, and legacy. If you spend it carelessly, you will reap regret, stagnation, and emptiness. Time is currency, and how you spend it determines the wealth or poverty of your life.